I know we said 10 minutes, guys, but we lied to you. We're back right now with a pretty cool matchup coming up. We got more Chaos decks. Really interested to see. We got all the unique Chaos characters coming out this time. So we've got All for One versus a Fourth Kind. Fourth Kind is the more traditional Chaos Fourth Kind, but interested to see how All for One stacks up. I personally, once again, we're on a matchup that I've never seen before in my life.
Oh, definitely.
Never seen the character played once, so really interested to see how he runs.
But we are going from fun momentum tricks match into fun momentum tricks match.
That's true.
So let's see how. Oh, and speaking of fun momentum tricks, let's start with one.
Yeah, why not? We got our free All for One response at the start of the turn. Really interesting. So there was an article that was posted up by, I believe, Jeremy Ray over at Jasco, talking a little bit about All for One and how the design of the character went. And one of the coolest parts about him is he breaks the game. He gets to get momentum without having his attacks deal damage. And that's kind of what he does in the anime already.
At first I saw those two foundations, Fourth Kind built, and had a small stroke. Then I realized that sometimes five-handers are actually honest five-handers who only have 5 cards in their hand.
Absolutely. And I would consider All for One to be kind of the underdog of the match. We've seen Fourth Kind top 2 events very recently and get very far in both of them. And so to see All for One starting off with a 6 build is pretty awesome.
Never hurts.
Yeah, except for only having 1 card in hand against Fourth Kind. Fourth Kind can show a lot of pain out here.
He can. Now, he only has the 2 foundations up, and he does still need to pass 3 cards first to get that free 4th card.
Yeah, those 3 cards could just be foundations on foundations, and we could once per game here. That would be a wild thing to do.
That is another nice thing about building those 6 foundations straight out. You could...
Oh, they're going to go ahead and make sure we get a phone out here so we can do some live tracking. Ooh, we got a nice little notepad.
Oh my goodness. Technology.
That's pretty sweet.
But as I was saying, if I'm All for One, it would feel nice to have a second round of just straight build and say, you know what, do your once per game whenever you'd like.
Absolutely.
I'm ready for it.
Yeah, you don't even have deadlock foundations down yet, so how should I be scared of this 5-hand size character? I mean, we do see Vile Seasons in the Fourth Kind. I think that's kind of stock standard for that character right now, so maybe we only build to 10, but even then... Oh, speaking
what
of
card were you talking about?
I'm just a fortune teller today. I don't know what it is. I wish I was this good when I was actually playing my matches, but yeah. So we've got Vile Seizing outright, and if our All for One decides to go into deadlock, that's -2 to all of his checks per turn. That's
brutal.
Speaking of brutal, we are passing our 7 diff, and we are we're saying please 1.3 million me. I want it so badly. We have our release. We can give our check to block with the foundation +3. So this is interesting. I don't know what to make of it really, but we're just going to take the 4. We don't want Fourth Kind to get any additional build. We're trying to lock him out on 2 foundations and just say, hey, we've got an advantage right now.
Mm-hmm. Now, where is his block?
Oh, he took it.
Oh.
Took it to the face. All right, so 2, 3, and
surprise!
4. Oh, nice.
Oh.
I love this card in Fourth Kind. So full cowling allows you to say, I'm a 5-hander, but now I'm going to discard my entire hand and draw 3 cards. So I don't get to sculpt the blocks, but I get to have 2 more cards than I would have otherwise. This card feels amazing. And the question is, our All for One player has 1 card in his hand. Now, if I am playing against a Fourth Kind and I'm committing out, I'm probably keeping a low for the 1.3. That attack's really scary. But if that kept a low, then I didn't keep a high for a 10 damage full cowling. Maybe we kept a mid. Who's to say? But this is looking a little bit sketchy, depending on what's the last card in their hand.
Now, I am just trying to read someone's body language based on a single wrist and forearm.
Oh, no, I think you're right. I think you had that called. I will also note that we've got a nice Mirio hand marker on the side of the Fourth Kind. We've got some Mirio fanboying and a Shigaraki playmat. So I think our Fourth Kind player just loves MHA.
I truly love Mirio. That is always the right call.
Have you seen his character?
I have. I'm pleased. I think they made it good.
Yeah.
They made it look like it's going to be fun to play.
They made him very simple, but like, if super effective in that simplicity.
Well, you know what? He should be simple
Yeah.
because he should be welcoming to new people.
That's
Because
right.
Lemillion, as a character, would be very welcoming.
And Overhaul should have three abilities and be super complicated and break the rules of the game.
Yeah, sure.
So yeah, it's a perfect opportunity for you to teach your new player how the game works, and they can play the easy character, and then you activate your abilities and they go, wait, what?
Right. You say that speaking as someone who has taught a lot of people how to play this game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so we just got to see a really cool All for One activation where we responded with All for One, took our momentum, the card we put in our momentum back to our hand, and then we put it back down into our momentum, and then we responded Wealthy Aspirations, and now we're up an additional momentum. So the momentum trick's already abounding. We do have to be cognizant of being on 6 foundations against 4th kind once per game, because whereas last turn he seemed a little less threatening, this next turn he's going to be terrifying, and we're at 13.
Although it looks like he is going for that second build turn that I had mentioned.
Yeah, this is a really good choice, and with the spreading list studies, it makes it really easy to have high block efficiency going into the turn of a character who can commit you for 4 and then maybe 6 if it gets the 1.3.
Although we do have 2 releases.
Yes, yeah, a lot of possibilities for blocking. I think what we're going to see here is what we saw with the last game with Pixie Bob, where Chaos actually has a ton of defense. Oh, and we get another All for One response at the beginning of our opponent's turn.
We do.
So now we're going to go and find the right block zone. That's really clever, because we didn't know what we got with the Wealthy Aspirations. So we might have taken that card back, or we might have said, hey, we put something else useful in here.
All right. Oh, and we are starting with another cowling.
And well, this one, I'm not going to rush to discard my hand and draw 3 cards. I am really liking just the high stats on the card overall. 6 damage represents nearly half of our rival's life total, on top of, having this ability where if they don't block it, they're going to be taking away a resource. All for One will be committed. So this card is already trying to force a block out so that the other cards that come can be a lot more devastating.
Now, circling back around to something that you had mentioned last turn when you said wondering what block zone he held.
Yeah.
All for One does have that ability to, once per turn, commit himself and say, if I block this, it's a full block.
That's right.
So if he does hold that mid block, it is extremely strong on him. He does get 1 essential Faith Shield.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's nice to have a freebie, or it's a anti-electric jolt shield, because, I mean, the card's very powerful. It's especially feels terrifying if you're not sure when the once per game is coming down, and you don't want to give your opponent the opportunity to commit another one of your foundations selectively.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is an opportunity where I would feel very, I would be considering committing and going ahead and getting rid of the momentum just to not take an electric jolt and give that to my rival as a potential threat for later down the line.
And at this point, 4 is not an insignificant chunk of our life total.
Yeah.
I would love not to take 4 damage.
Yeah, that's like 30% of our life. We don't want to take that. Okay, so I missed what happened.
I also missed what
Attack has
happened.
2 speed though, so that's cool.
Well,
It's
that's
5 speed now.
That's harder to block.
Harder to block for sure. I think we released or something. No, we committed a foundation or something. Truly no idea.
And we are drawing a card
Okay.
with
Maybe Chivalrous? Probably Chivalrous.
mm,
Yeah, Chivalrous competitor can flip, both players draw 1. Pretty good. Just to, have some more blocks in hand. And feel more confident that we can start this turn. Still have not seen All for One's effect come down. We may still be contemplating whether or not we want to stop this or we want to be able to full block something later. But yeah, I don't think it's an easy decision, because if we decide to commit All for One here, and then we have to pass a block on a 5 diff plus block difficulty, and then we get once per game to die to a 1.3, it's going to feel real bad.
there's a lot of ways this could feel real bad. And I think we're seeing why 4th Kind has become such a popular character lately is that he does, for a 5-hander, have some incredible backswings.
Yeah, and he also gets to play just kind of this gauntlet of crazy attacks that could all be lethal in their own way. Like, so this player is playing a lot of the stuff that we're seeing normally, which is Recipro Burst, which is a massive threat. One for All, which is a massive threat. We've got High Engine Kick, which is just like could be an 8 high for 8. So 4th Kind's the sort of like usefulness, the utility of this character is he gets to put that 4 damage on whatever he wants, and he has so many cool options. And that means you can play a really thick deck, and your opponent can never really know for sure if they're doing the right, if they're making the right play.
Speaking of making the right play, we did just commit 4 foundations to avoid taking 3 damage, and we know that that fourth attack, or at least fourth card that will definitely be an attack, is
Yeah.
coming. That does feel a little shaky. We still have the 2 releases. Are you kidding
Oh,
me?
we've got a sick jolt. So I wonder if we're happy that we did an All Might here. You know, this jolt, it's still fast. It's taking away some more of our pieces. We're gonna get a chance to struggling if we want to, but we may just be more interested in going ahead and grabbing double release. Oh, looks like we did not stun first, so that may have been a little bit of an oopsie goof.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah, there it is. Well, we got the struggling off for that, so
Right.
like I think from a sequencing perspective, you might want to do that. Now, if Fourth Kind is going for the win here, then I think the better play would just be once per game, but he's not doing that. So I'm curious if he just feels like he might be a little bit off and wants to have it just in case. I mean, 2 foundations is not much, but it's 2 releases, which is effectively 6 block difficulty if you want to commit all of that, 7 counter your character, and destroy the foundations for the release. So yeah, it's interesting choice. But yeah, we'll see how it plays out.
He may be. Well, I was going to say he may be waiting to see what his check will be, but he can definitely pass any card he likes here.
Yeah.
So maybe he's trying to flex. I was fourth kind. I won without even using my once per game. But here we are.
He's got 4 arms for flexing. There's so much efficiency you get doing all that flexing.
Here we are saying that we as All for One would like to not take any damage from this on the block. Thank you.
That's a weird choice because now you just die to the follow up. As long as you can make it, you know, if it's a 1.3, I don't see a way out of this. Oh, okay. So we paid our costs, we committed our character, and then we failed it. So what's the rub? What's Fourth Kind doing here? Okay.
Oh no.
Here we go.
Oh, he's saying you're dead.
He's saying
we still have 2 releases.
This is what, 7 speed with the stun. No, he gets to stun 1, and then he gets to 1. I think he wants per game here first, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Oh no, he chose not to. Okay, you know what? Fourth Kind doesn't need his once per game. He's too cool for that stuff. He would rather get the stun 1 off Reciprocal Burst first, and then commit out for the once per game. So he gets 2 extra speed on the burst response.
You know, I think we've established that I tend to be a more conservative player. I tend to always think in the case of the worst case scenario.
Yeah.
But if I'm fourth kind here, I don't see a way that I need to defend against another turn. I'm pretty sure I've got it. It's time to once per game.
Yeah. Did we miss a once per game?
I don't think we did.
I feel like, and we're gonna go ahead. So we're gonna requesting and re-ready. We, with another attack, get to just kind of pass it. We've got 6 cards up.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is it gonna be 8 damage? Who's to say? But like, we've got so much equity here as Fourth Kind to we can pay off any kind of costs we need to. We can make our decisions are very flexible, and again, that lends itself to the nature of the character.
All right, block time.
Oh, we get the +1.
Okay. And of course we check a 3.
That's not happening.
Woo!
Yeah,
that was rough.
Yeah. So, all right, Fourth Kind takes the first one down. I think, you know, we assumed All for One as the underdog in that match, and even with Fourth Kind building 2 versus All for One 6, I think we saw a little bit of blocking difficulty that All for One ran into, not being able to do anything about that full cowling. He definitely held a low for the 1.3. He was like, oh, I know how Fourth Kind works.
Oh, yes.
Exactly. And then Fourth Kind was like, actually, did you know that we play like 30 different attacks in our deck, and you have to be ready for all of them?
And that's what makes him scary.
Yeah.
Is any attack can kill you.
Yeah, and you're a 5-hander, so you're not drawing that many attacks a turn, but if you, like, so many of your decks are just bombs.
Fourth Kind can do some serious damage on a 2 attack turn.
Yeah, especially because, you know, with high engine kick and electric jolt, it's guaranteed damage, or it's very fast, or it's both, depending on which way you're going. So yeah, one other interesting thing that I'll say about this Fourth Kind deck, we see a couple more of our class reunion promos in here in the form of The Future Is Now, as well as Masterminding. They're both 1x actions, hard to play actions in a 5-hander sometimes, but interesting that if we get enough hand extension, we get a weird Future Is Now after Fourth Kind's effect. It's very strange. It does give +2 speed though, and that extra speed can be devastating on a 1.3.
Hmm.
Just kind of looking.
I do find it a tad unfair that fourth kind should even be able to play masterminding.
I mean, I feel like it's a little bit of a niche choice. It works really well in Shigaraki because Shigaraki makes you make so many checks, and it requires your rival to fail a check. But against fourth kind, it you like I guess you could fail a check to block, but a lot of times you could just like pass it. It's cute as a 1x though, because you're never really sure as the fourth game player when you're going to get it, and as the all for one player, I don't think we saw it last game,
No.
but I'm sure I'm sure not trying to like leverage for it and expect it in any way, shape, or form.
That is a very fun mind game to play, though, as the fourth kind player to
Right.
check the masterminding
Yes,
and then
yes.
just see the cogs in your opponent's head turn as they wonder, am I going to have to deal with that?
Right. Am I going to have to be very cognizant to not fail anything for the rest of the game? How many is he realistically playing? I think looking at a 5-hand size character as the all for one, I'm not expecting him to be playing a whole lot of them, but it is a really cheeky, like, we got there.
And we are seeing that both of these players did bring a sideboard.
I know, it's
like
the
good
pro
players.
Tech. Yeah, and oh my god, fourth kind's sideboard is so many action cards. We got Grasping Tape Toss, we got Fulfilled My Duty, like some pretty standard little like side tech pieces. But we got 3x Blood Curdle, 2x Showdown, 2x Engine Trouble.
Engine Trouble, really?
Yeah, this card is actually seeing a lot of play right now. I think fourth kinds are playing it, but we're seeing it in a lot of other decks, inside of these top 16 lists, because it just takes away a piece at an inconvenient time, and nobody expects it. You're like, hey, I've got 4 foundations going into my turn. I'll throw an attack. Oh no, my best foundation is gone, and I took 3, so it's even worse. And it's also got Breaker 1 and a +1 low block. The card is cheeky good. It was really good in draft, but people are finding a lot of value in it in competitive play right now.
I am really loving this fourth kind deck. It seems like someone who loves tech, loves actions, loves little niche things, and then said, well, I'm going to play a 5-hander who doesn't get access to all of that necessarily, and I'm still going to do good.
When you play 65 card fourth kind, it's a different game every time.
It is.
Yeah, you're playing your own roulette wheel, and it's kind of fun to spin the wheel every once in a while.
Ooh, okay, we are starting up again post sideboard. The all for one has started with a 4 build going first.
Not as promising as last game, but we did get the first initiative, so hopefully we can leverage this a little bit better. I will say, so we didn't get to really see a whole lot of all for one's attacks last turn because he spent most of his time building and dying. But
no shame.
It
happens.
It happens to the best of us. He is running what we have seen in a lineup that I've seen in a lot of Chaos Dobby decks. And I think it's all for one's a really interesting choice because Dobby gives a lot of damage. Both the first version and the second version give a lot of damage. All for one also just free damage pump across the board. But we're seeing things like Meteor Shower, Twisting Azure Inferno, Home Run Comet, Double Jab Pummel, Electric Jolt, and then a cheeky 2x Cheerful Uppercut. And this is really interesting because Twisting Azure Inferno, once you have 9 foundations, you always get that check boost for the rest of the turn. And that really takes you off to the races. And from there, you're just going to be throwing like high quality bombs. Meteor Shower, great with this character because he's always going to have a momentum if he wants to have it. But in this case, you'll notice he didn't respond at the beginning of his turn, and it might just be because he knew he was going to get one off this Electric Jolt here.
No reason to lose a card in your hand.
No reason to lose a card in your hand when you're just going to lose it and deal some damage anyways.
And can we speak for a moment about how the 5-hander built 5?
Yeah, he's called fourth kind, but he's 5 built. That's the guy in a nutshell.
Well, that's just straight up cheating.
I love the card Fulfilled My Duty. Genuinely, like as a player who likes to try his best not to die as much as possible in games, ending the enhanced step at an opportune moment is so good, and people I think undervalue this card. Okay, so we blocked the Ice Slide Tackle. Unfortunately, this card is not a high, so we are still going to take 1 damage. If it was a high, we would be like really in business, but instead we're just like, you know what? We're going to lose the last card in our hand. We've got to fulfill my duty in play. And we're gonna say you're not attacking me anymore. One for all for one.
What we're also saying is, I have 34 life.
Yeah.
Come at me.
Oh, and fourth kind also has that really convenient response that says after you block with an attack, out of
Oh, I always forget that one.
Yeah, I mean he's so offensive. He's got so many great offensive effects, and then it's like, oh wait a minute,
Oh, but check a 5 on a double jab. That
Mhm.
always feels good.
It does. Now, we know our opponent has the mid block. We do get a cute little combo gimmick off the block here, but as fourth kind, I gotta wonder how scary is the rest of an all for one's attack lineup gonna be? And would it be more lucrative to take the 5 and ask him to expend another card out of his hand and force him to maybe commit a resource? He's gonna get plus to the check, but that doesn't mean he can't check a 3. And then say, okay, we're in business here. Like I think there is reason to consider blocking this.
Mhm.
It just sort of depends on what you think is coming next, and this could just be a bluff to try to get some damage off because double jab is famously considered unblockable by a lot of people. But really,
Really?
the draw two discard two sounds really scary on paper, but there comes a point where you actually stop passing cards, even with that plus two. I mean, there's only 2 double jabs in the all for one's deck. Not that fourth kind knows this, but like, if you stop drawing the double jabs, suddenly he's got another card in his card pool. He's getting a momentum, but the rest of his foundations are going to be on 5s, and that's really brutal, especially when you start failing those checks and you're up against a character who's playing 1.3 in the main and just going to send you out. And as you can see here, now maybe if there was a block, there'd be another attack, but all for one is very shrewd. He's getting another momentum. He's chopping the fourth kind down to his size, 27 to 27. And so this is a really good play. Are we? Oh, and we're going to go ahead and respond and put that double jab right back into our hand.
Why not?
We're not getting full cowling again. It's just not going to happen. We saw it last game. We're prepped. We're ready. And we get to play the double jab again next turn. And we already know that our opponent is allergic to blocking those.
And he also very wisely stopped at 5 foundations.
Yes.
That always feels bad. 5 foundations never quite feels like enough.
It doesn't.
But sometimes it has to be.
Yeah, like my rule that I mentioned last game of trying to get 7 foundations on turn 3 super doesn't work against fourth kind. All right, so this is the Jolt Wars. We got Chaos Jolt versus Order Jolt. Jolt's coming down everywhere. Commit all the foundations. Nobody gets to have their most fun piece unless you play Requesting Assistance, which both of them do. So Danky's support is really on display in this matchup, and yeah, it's good to have.
I mean, can you think of decks where that is an option, where you pass up Electric Jolt and say no?
Yeah, right. Or Requesting Assistance, like, some of the best cards in the game. Like, if your deck doesn't want pokes, sure, don't run Electric Jolt. But turns out pokes
But
are
it
just
has
strong.
it has value as more than just a poke, though, because it's offensive and defensive even after the card's been played
Right.
and finished.
And if your opponent's at 1, or if you just have a pile of momentum and they're at 4, and you can pay that EX2 cost, like, it's a finisher, it's a poke, it's got a +2 high block, it's
a very fair 4 difficulty.
This card does everything. I put this card on everything. So this is definitely a situation where I would consider going ahead and using my all for one effect and not taking damage from the jolt, because I've got a jolt and my opponent has a jolt. It makes my jolt a little less cool. So I want to go ahead and stock that up if I can, or not stock that up, but prevent the jolt from stocking up in our fourth kind's momentum. But at the same time, we've already got 2 cards committed. Are we worried about the 1.3? Oh, even better. No, we should have absolutely paid that all for one cost.
We should have.
Yeah, this is a really cool little piece. Suddenly that fourth kind's -4 difficulty feels a little bit worse. And we're going to go ahead and just shove cards in our card pool. We are dinking for 1 here, but yeah, that's Cheerful Uppercut. What a card.
Oh yes, even not having full blocked it, it still feels worth it.
Of course, we have a card that I have to remember what the name of this card is. Jeez, is it? Oh, did he sideboard? He sideboarded the villain's defeated because he knew he was playing against a Jolt deck. Yeah, so whatever. We don't pay our all for one cost. We get our free flip effect. We gain our 2 life back, and then we say, all right, we're gonna full block something else later.
So what just happened?
So we removed. We blocked the Cheerful Uppercut, and then we removed the Electric Jolt from play. So effectively keeping it out of the momentum, and then we also gained some life.
I missed. I thought that this was something that the fourth kind had done to mitigate the added difficulty. Wow, way to go, all for one player.
Yeah. And so now this is blockable if we really want it. Or 4 damage. That is not speed. There's no momentum for the fourth kind right now. We're going to go ahead and shock treatment here, or not shock treatment, the other one. Electric Jolt, it looks like. Or, nope, we're not going to. But we get requesting assistance re-ready.
Mhm.
We have all for one. We do have two cards in our card pool. We did that to ourselves, and we were trying to do that to be cool and suave and not take a bunch of damage for a bunch of attacks this turn. But like this is mega blockable, and if we can keep ourselves at full health for all of turn two, that gives us a lot of great prospects to continue building momentum up for later turns, like both actual resource momentum and actual game momentum. But it looks like we're actually not going to ready, and we're not even going to use the all for one effect. We're actually just going to go for the block here, checks the force quirk activation, uh, fully commits out, and takes half. So we're giving our fourth kind a little bit of resource to work with.
But he did smartly realize that if he committed, there was a chance he could fail the block.
That's true. That's true. And I mean, he did have requesting assistance, so get ready. Like, there's all these different things you have to leverage for. If he checked a 3 there, he was failing it regardless, right?
Mhm.
So, it may have behooved him to request assistance anyways. But he said, you know what? I know my deck. I know my numbers. He could have said, I know how many attacks I've checked so far and what my odds are right now. Like, it's hard to know what's going through a player's head at any given point in time, especially when we got on like such a low volume like this. So yeah, and that's just for us. I don't think they're coming to the stream at all.
Okay, and these fancy cards. What is this?
It's another jolt.
Oh my goodness!
Which jolts on jolts on jolts on jolts. And we love committing down, fulfilled my duty, but we hate having it re-readied with requesting assistance. And so these jolts are kind of falling on a little bit of deaf ears, where, oh no, we have to commit requesting assistances selectively, and then they just get re-readied.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, Jolt, really good card, but it is directly countered by Denki's own foundation. And you'll often see that where like a character's support sometimes will also counter that character, and this is a perfect example of that.
So he just took that straight to the face. It looks like.
Yeah,
Which, of course, he has one card to block with.
Yeah.
You're not going to block the card that's going to deal you 1 damage anyway.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we're gonna eat our 5 there, and the messed
Our
up part
6.
was it 6?
Well, it looks like he just took 1 more away.
Yeah.
Oh, it looks like there may have been a clerical error from previous.
Got it. Yeah.
Oh, well, an honest player.
Either way, we've got the issue with all for one being, he needs every 3. Okay, this is perfect. We gotta build out as hard as we possibly can, and just hope that we can, eat 1 attack, block a 1.3 million, and maybe a full cowling, and rock with it.
And like you said, he does have the. He has 1 requesting assistance, so he can ready 1.
Yeah.
He has 2 jolts, so he can force a commit down 2.
Yeah.
If his opponent is not savvy enough to realize what's happening and gets both of those requesting assistances
our
down,
opponent's going to be just fine. I trust in this fourth guy's player. They're playing sideboards. They know what they're doing.
watch me show up with a sideboard where none of my symbols match.
Oh, perfect.
I know what I'm doing.
Yeah. All right. Well, we got a vial season coming down. Just free card draw. Last game we committed fully out to pass a vial season check, and I ended up just taking 14 on 1 turn. This game we're probably a little less likely to do that, but actually no, we are going to commit. We want a 5-hander to be a 5-hander, and we don't care if that means that 2 of our precious resources have already been effectively stunned. Like this card suddenly had stun 2, and we're fighting against a 4th kind who has stun 4 on face. So interesting. Scary.
But I do agree with your assessment of forcing this 5-hander to be a real 5-hander. He's at the point where he can easily pass 4 attacks in a turn.
Right.
And you can't block 4 attacks in a turn.
It is kind of interesting that we immediately snap ready the fulfilled my duty as though we feel like we're going to need it this turn. Like, I don't see us committing fulfilled my duty to pass checks. We've got face down Scotch and saving Bakugo for that, right? So the fact that we're snap activating it makes me feel as though we're trying to find a reason to we're trying to find a reason to flip our requestings over, which doesn't feel conducive to our game plan here. We are going to go ahead and commit the other requesting assistance because now that requesting assistance was flipped. But if we had left the requesting assistance unflipped and left the fulfilled committed, like our opponent's not attacking us. This is kind of more of a defensive card. So I feel like that was a bit of an odd, like, we want to just go ahead and jump on it to use it now. Maybe it has to do with us trying to use our momentum this turn, which is another possibility. But yeah, I'm not 100% sure I see yet what the line is that our 14 player is going for there. All right, so Icy Slide Tackle. This card is basically just a 3 low for 5. It's got a great combo effect that's +2 speed, but you get a combo with a low. Um, and yeah, so it's just kind of a softener move. It's asking all for one, hey, do you really want to block this? And I got one card in my hand. I have all the defense I could need to possibly block something scary later. I take 5 damage every time. Fourth kind knows that there's 5 damage going in. All for one knows that there's 5 damage going in. Like, we're all in agreement here.
Okay, so it doesn't look like we're going to try for 4 attacks, but we're definitely going to do 3.
Especially when you're going to refill your hand after that, it's just nice to have. So
He is considering which of these foundations he feels comfortable committing.
Mhm.
Like he said, did he need to commit 2?
He checked a 3.
Mm-hmm.
He needed a 4.
That's a 5, isn't it? Unless he gave his check +1.
Yeah, we got -4 difficulty. So he needed a 4.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Okay.
Yeah. So this is a 4 high for 10, and
You say so casually.
yeah, I mean, it's just cool to have. It's nice to be in that position where you just throw free 10 damage moves out that draw you 3 cards. And all for one's out here like, I can pay my cost. I can block this for free and take no damage.
Well, he can't block it for free right now,
Well,
unless he just paid the cost and I missed it.
he did. He paid the cost on all for one to
Okay.
so yeah, he just needs a bid block, and he's in the money here. And fourth kind will have committed out 3 of his cards. No requestings are live, so he's going to have 4 foundations and character to work with, which is not unreasonable. We have not seen the all for one mountain offense yet, so we don't know how deadly it is or how potent it is. We have seen some Twisting Azure Infernos checked, and the card currently is live because of 2x basic training. So if we get some Twisting Azures and we draw like enough of a backswing, we also get to take a card out of our momentum going into our turn.
Mhm.
So as long as we, find the rest of the attacks we need, this could get ugly.
But will it get 22 damage? Oh, he said, don't attack me anymore.
Please stop.
I would like for you to be, and I think that does effectively say I will not be attacked anymore this turn.
So it's interesting, like, blocking with this is, I think it's double-edged.
It is.
And it depends on the card that we have in our hand, but the fourth kind was not passing another attack after that. Like, it doesn't kill us, he doesn't want to commit out, right? And that Cheerful Uppercut represents 8 straight damage to face, and our opponent's at 22. Like, that is a not insignificant. That's over a third of our health on one attack that we're choosing to block and clog the card pool with. Like, I mean, maybe fourth kind was going to spam out another foundation there, but if I'm the all for one player, I heavily consider holding that card and just saying, here's a 5 low for, I guess, 10 because of all for one's damage bump.
Mhm.
This is half of what I need to win the game right now.
So here is my rebuttal to that.
Okay.
And I don't know if other players have this same difficulty that I do,
Mhm.
but I have effectively stopped putting Cheerful Uppercut in decks.
Okay, fair
Because
enough.
when I look at Cheerful Uppercut, all I see is that response.
Yeah.
I don't see it as an attack. I see it
it's
as a
big.
block.
It's real big, especially if you're all for one and you're just sitting on 2 momentum. And all for one didn't even look at the momentum. He knew exactly what he was going to grab. He was like, I've got this. I've memorized this 100% of the way. So yeah, the really cool thing about that character is just stashing an attack, getting it back later. And let's see. So we're starting with the Azure Inferno, which is great. We get the basic training response. We're already getting plus to all of our checks for the turn. And this is coming at for, looks like, this is going to be an effective 6 mid for 7. Now, I think this might be a move to consider using Fulfill My Duty on, because that +1 to checks, -1 to checks is such a powerful effect. And he has to give damage before we can get to the point where we get to play the cool effect. So if we're going to use Fulfilling My Duty, this is an interesting one to choose to use it on. And I think he's
considering
touching it, and he's blowing it up.
Yeah.
This is almost a no-brainer, because no matter what, backswing all for one ripped, it is so much better when you get +1 to your checks for the rest of the turn and -1 to checks to the fourth kind. Fourth kind could have an attack in hand, and he's like, I want to add this back to my hand, not commit all of my cards. So yeah, this is a no-brainer, and then taking the move makes sense.
Oh,
yes, all for one. Let's go. Game 3. Game 3 is on the way. We got 2 basic trainings, 2 Twisting Azure Infernos. Of course, we didn't get one of them at Twisting Azures off, but it doesn't even matter. This is going to make it really difficult for fourth kind to be able to do much, and we're already seeing some desperation here, flipping flipping this eat a card, calling for backup to draw one and discard one. I mean, we're in a tight spot.
He said, I don't want this +3 mid block.
Yeah. And our all for one is certainly posturing like he's got a billion attacks in his hand, and if he wanted to find more, he could always chivalrous here. So, yeah, I feel good about game three here.
I feel excited about game 3 here. You did say earlier that we hadn't seen all for one mountain offense yet, and that does always feel bad. You want to see what the deck can really do.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's just not possible with certain matchups.
Yeah. When you sleeve the deck up, you put the deck together, you spend the time building it in your deck builder, and then you finally sleeve it up, and you're like, all right, I'm ready to play this thing, and then you just get like horribly mollywopped 2 games in a row, 2-0, and you're like, I never got to play attack. It feels miserable, but here we get to see I get to play 3 meteor showers, and my checks have +1.
Now, how did he just shove? Oh,
Meteor showers enhance, discard a momentum, add a meteor shower from your discard pile to your momentum, and then meteor showers other enhance. While in momentum, you can discard a card as cost and pick it back up. So and these moves are all almost lethal. They're all 7 damage because we're getting +2 off of all for one's abilities.
Mhm.
So we know we got to hit with 2. Fourth kind knows exactly what's coming. Like, this is the most telegraphed offense on the face of the planet with Meteor Shower itself as a card. You know it's all going to be high, and you know it's all going to be 4 high 7s. It's just how does all for one feel trying to assess for it and actually survive the turn. Not to mention, it's actually at 5 high for 7 because of
Azure.
Yeah. So yeah, that's a brutal. It's not saying it's impossible, but this is looking pretty good for our all for one player.
Which is such a great sentence to say.
Yeah, I'm so excited to see this character like getting legs. We were playing a game with the starters the other day, and it was like, okay, this character's fine. He's a little bit clunky. He's a little bit hard to move around. But then you start seeing, hey, what happens when we start shoving ultra rares in him? And oh, okay, it's pretty brutal.
Oh, okay. And
we want to save all of the time, waste nothing. There's no way we're surviving this, and we gotta get this last game wrapped up quick so we can either player can hopefully go into the next round.
Now we're going into game 3. Has fourth kind once per gamed at all during this match? I don't think he has.
I'm gonna say no. I don't think so. He's remembered to use the response more times than he's once per gamed, and we've forgotten about the response every single time. So there's something to be said about that. Is that we don't play fourth kind. But it's okay. It was flashy last game though. The game that he won with the reciprocal burst, he didn't need that. He didn't need once per game.
Oh.
And I love that we're digging back to the sideboards. It's always interesting to be like, okay, let's try this out, see if it worked, and you know what? If not, we'll go into next game. We'll take it out. But there's an additional sideboard tactic you can use where you're saying, you know what? I know I'm going second, and I have cards in my deck that are just terrible going first. So I am going to take those out, or terrible going second, whatever. I'm going to take those out, and I'm going to put the cards that give me some more advantages, maybe some more defense. We know that we're going to be on the back foot against fourth kind on turn 2 and turn 3. So
and turn
anything
4
that can give
and
us
turn 5.
I think there comes a point where maybe all for one may have more of an advantage. It's hard to say, not knowing really a whole lot about what the deck does, but yeah. So here's hoping we see some really cool defense here. Like, all for one has to be fully ready to defend here. It looks like he's got a different colored sleeve in his sideboard. Oh, he's got Dobby 2 sitting down there. Okay. Yeah, I'm not siding into a 20 or 19 health character
against fourth kind
going second. First, there's an argument to be made, but second, absolutely.
Just block everything.
Yeah.
Just don't get stunned.
I mean, it's easier said than done sometimes. You can do it, but sometimes you just get thrown into a wall. All right, so we're shuffling up, and you got to imagine if fourth kind saw the Dobby being like, "Oh God, I should have put those grasping tape tops." Guaranteed damage against chaos, which has a couple anti-throw cards, but not a whole lot to recommend about. Like, he could stop damage from decoy duplicate right now, and he's not running confused. So
the fun thing about game 3 in this matchup is the first game pretty much was all fourth kind doing offense. Second game, we got to see All for One do some offense. The players have a much better knowledge of what exactly they're playing against now.
Yeah, and a lot of times when you're watching matches like this, and you see something go horribly one-sided in the first game and horribly one-sided the other way in the second game, game 3 can really turn into a little bit of a slog because, like you said, people are assessing for what they need. Oh, there we go. We got the All for One response because you got to get that free momentum. It's free.
It's free.
And it's an extra review, effectively. Oh, no. Okay. I say oh no, but this is exactly what we saw game 1, except for our foundations are better than they were game 1.
Yeah, fulfilled by duty. And what is the second one?
The second one is it's like bad grades. Final exam failures is what it's called.
Oh, that is bad grades.
Yeah, it's bad grades. So your attack flip, your rival makes a check against a 6, and if they fail, they destroy it ready. Really cool. Like, it's sort of a stun one piece, but sometimes instead of stunning, it just destroys. And you just paid a flip for it, so it tends to be pretty good. Decoy duplicate going second, already with the momentum. We are not dying on turn 3 unless something goes horribly wrong.
And we got that nice 5 build.
Yeah, we got the 5 build. We got the card that just says, "Hey, your attack doesn't exist anymore." And the best part about that, okay, we're gonna go ahead and use our response. Little bit, I feel like fourth guy needs to give a little bit more time because it's unfortunate that All for One is getting to respond after he's already seen the first attack being played. You can scope through blocks that way, but when you don't give time for your opponent to use their abilities, it gets a little bit tricky. And we're also trying to make sure that we're not running out of time here. So I understand the pressure from both players, but it is good to just say, any responses before I start my turn? And then if they say no, it's like, all right, here comes the reciprocal.
And there's also the difficulty of it being a webcam event. Yeah. In person, it's so much easier to see your opponent start to move.
Right, and then you can put your hand out and be like, hey, wait a second. Yeah, no, absolutely.
But you can't really fast play past that response window.
It's all right. So we got +2/+2. We got our card. We've done all the cool reciprocal extend things. And what we're really posturing here for is our fourth card is going to be our high engine kick, and it's going to come for 10 damage and nigh unblockable. And you're going to have to pop that decoy duplicate if you want to take the interesting partial block.
That is and again, he has the momentum. He has the ability to say, I don't want to take damage from this.
Oh, wait a minute. There's a response on this one.
When you block with it, it goes to your momentum.
It just goes to your momentum?
That's it.
I mean, that's pretty cool.
Just to free clear the card pool. But again, he could have...
He just wanted the free momentum, right?
Well, he still could have had a free momentum.
That's true. Yeah.
But again, we're not in the moment. Who knows what else is in his hand?
Right. It's true. And you want to make sure, especially if you're scared of, getting hit with an unblockable 1.3, that you can commit 2 cards, one for the stun, and then one to activate the equipment. Yeah, you hate sticky balls.
I do hate sticky balls.
They're so good. I love
Unless it's in my deck. Then it's okay.
Yeah, if I want any of those symbols, I've got that card at least a 2x, especially playing a 7-hander, but even in a 5-hander, -4 speed, nothing to sneeze at, and then every once in a while, just throw that card in, make your life miserable on your turn, or my turn, whichever. It's +1 speed on your 1.3 millions.
And exactly. He did get the 2 cards that he really wanted to go together.
This is fourth kind's bread and butter. This is what you expect on turn 2 when you're expecting a fourth kind. And this is 10 damage, and it's probably going to be 8 speed at minimum. He could discard an attack from hand and get a +4. It really depends on how he's feeling about his next turn. But yeah, 8 speed is plenty. Is All for One really going to release here? Is he going to decoy? Okay, cool. So
okay.
And I love this play, because we're going to go ahead and get our card pool to work, which is great. But we're also going to say you have played your fourth kind. Your card gets to go away. You can try to pass another attack on a 30, but it's not going to matter because you're not going to get the +4 damage on it. So All for One has officially survived turn 2 without a scratch. He's lost 1 foundation, but he's kept his momentum completely the same. And, fourth kind is a little on the back foot here, especially if he fails this check, which he did not, but he can give it 1 pass.
But does he want to...
I commit that here, I think.
Yeah, you're not going to die this turn.
Right.
You and your 34 damage butt.
Right, and not to mention, a lot of the Twisting Astro tricks came about because All for One had 8 foundations and 2 basics down. You have to get your Twisting Azure to 7. All for One only gets 1 damage per 3 foundations, and he does not have the staging area right now to do that. So
Mhm.
if he's actually going in for any kind of hilarious try on a kill, it's just not happening.
Now the question is, and this is the question I have every time I play against a fourth kind:
Yes.
do you just build 4?
You just build
Do
4.
you just build 4?
I mean, yeah, it's kind of unfortunate because we would like to have 5 foundations in build 4, right? Give us the best chance at having this meaty staging area that you can just commit down.
But do you want to have 5 foundations at the end of this turn?
At the end of this turn, maybe, I don't know. It's hard to say. It depends on what the foundations are. Okay,
Oh, interesting.
we're leading a double gem, which means we have a second double gem in hand, right? Like, it has to. And we're responding based turn. So this is interesting because this attack is mega blockable. If I'm fourth kind and I've been sculpting my hand for the all 2 turns I've been alive this game, playing my casino roulette deck, I'm holding an Ice Light Tackle. But there's a lot that would go into actually having that Ice Light Tackle in hand, and that would be such a good card to have here. Oh, and we're blocking this. We're blocking this right out.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, I mean, another high engine kick works. Another reciprocation works, but it's gonna be Ice Light Tackle, right? It's gotta be.
How much do you want to bet?
I'm gonna say 0, and I'm gonna regret it here in a second.
Okay.
All right. So we're 0 speed.
It does look like it's an attack.
Big 6 damage.
Guys, be careful when you're on webcam. Don't flash your cards.
I do that all the time.
I do
It's
too.
so bad. Oh, and are we scared?
What?
We're a little scared.
Did we?
We're gonna go ahead and
Really?
sticky balls. Either that or we got a sticky balls in our hand and we're just not going to block this. But I think we're a little scared. We knew there's another double jab bubble coming, right?
I mean, that does
There's no other
effectively
reasons you lead out.
stop the double jab.
Yeah. And we're okay. So we're going to partial block. So I don't hate this. It's an even numbered attack on the damage. I believe he can only give it. Or no, it's odd numbered because of all 4. So yeah, he's going to take 4. We're going to bounce the receiver back, and now we know he's got a high block. So we did that because we knew there was going to be another double jab, but we didn't want to take another 6 damage.
So here we are going to say, okay, we're going to go to 6 foundations. Oh, okay.
All right, we're going up to 7 right now, which is
We
really,
have to get this 7th.
I mean, I would love to have seen 8.
I also would have loved to see 8.
That's a little brutal. I mean, fourth kind, being a 5-hander, 5-hand size problems exist. You could just not have it. Always a possibility, but like this is fourth kind's greatest opportunity to say I can find 25 damage off of 1.3s and once per gaming. So yeah, and I mean, cool part. All for One getting to sculpt the blocks back, making sure he gets the best modifiers, gets the best zones. So it's not bad. And fourth kind hasn't immediately started slamming stuff, so this could actually bode pretty decently, and that actually is very cool.
We are getting an asset and a
We're
5-hander.
getting the suited up. Very unique card. This is a sort of card that we like. I love how both of the abilities on this card synergize both offensively and defensively. So 2 responses. Once after the speed of an attack is modified, it gets +1 or -1 once per enhanced step, and that's only playable while committed. The other once per enhanced step after the damage of an attack is modified, it gets 1 or -1 damage, and that is not playable while committed. So you have to kind of choose whether you're going speed or damage here. And then you can also commit the card as though it's a foundation to pay cost. So after you're kind of done using it, like if it's committed and you don't have a lot of ways to modify speed, you can always commit it for your 1.3 million commit cost, and you get to save yourself a foundation with that. Like, what a neat card. And now fourth kind is saying, hey, I have it all. So if you want to survive, you got to do some good defending here.
Now, he has it all except for one thing: cards in hand. He has 1 card in hand.
That's true.
Now, would you be able to do 30 damage plus an extra attack that he feels like blocking?
Right.
Eh.
And cards in hand, I mean, you've also got to consider passing the torch, right? Like,
right.
Draw 2, and then you can re-ready it. And he's got so much. He's got speed mitigation on tape. He's got speed mitigation on Heroic Lineage. He can bounce. He can keep the cards out of his card pool with his character. Like, fourth kind has 1 card in hand and a lot of defense and 30 health. Like, if he doesn't want to die here, All for One is going to have to ask some pretty brutal questions to keep that up. I think we've got the Fulfilled My Duty.
Now, I think what just happened is he responded to give it that +1 damage,
Uh-huh.
but then Suited Up immediately came in
Yeah,
and said,
minus.
"No, I don't want you to have that +1
That's
damage. I want to keep this away from giving my checks -1, giving your checks +1."
yeah, and the cool part is that lets him save the fulfilled my duty for a later time.
Mhm.
So he could say, you know what, the most threatening thing is getting meteor shower looped with 3 momentum. I'm just gonna stop that in its tracks and not have to worry about twisting Azure's enhance. Yeah, that's a heads up play. And I think it's a lot of it is just genuinely, I'm pretty unfamiliar with Suited Up as a card. Like I would have absolutely stumbled into that and been like,
Oh,
oh, oopsie.
for sure. And you can see that he is pausing.
Yeah.
And obviously, I can't really hear what he's saying, so I'm just putting emotions into a pair of wrists, as apparently I want to do.
It's emotional pair of wrists. All right, so we got the partial block file season breaker 1.
Mm,
I feel like we've got to be adding this back to our hand, right? We get an extra breaker 1 activation later. We've got a high block for a meteor shower.
there it
damage.
is.
Yep, there it goes. All right.
Now,
a lot of partial block.
if I'm All For One, I'm not doing this, but All For One's doing this.
All For One's doing it, and he's getting a little punished for it.
So
and
he needs to
you
commit
to
4.
4? It's breaker 1, so 3.
3. Okay.
Yeah, that is brutal. Yeah. Fourth kind has got to be feeling really good right now. 27, or let's see, yeah, fourth kind has got 27 life.
Mm-hmm.
All For One has to have the hand to be able to survive to like win this turn, and fourth kind just has so many options. Like you could do anything. You could just say, you know what, I don't want you to put 2 damage on this double jet pummel while you combo it, and fulfill my duty. Like you've got so many ways to stay alive this turn. I just don't see it happening, and it's opening All For One up just for it full on brutalizing on this next turn. Double requesting assistance. Draw all the cards you want off of passing a torch. Re-ready it. Draw it again. We get if we can find Reciprocal Burst, we get extra damage on Heroic Lineage. Like there is just so much in the stage that is cause for terror, and we are going to go ahead and see the Fulfill My Duty come down. So I don't know if we avoided the damage or if we avoided the combo or what, but we're not going to worry about this card anymore. And if we've got 2 attacks in hand, if I'm fourth card, I'm taking it.
Oh yes, and that might be what's happening.
Yeah.
Is I just want to take this to the face. I have so much health that that is a resource that I can just expend. Okay.
All right, so we checked to 7, so we did get the combo up. I think he literally fulfilled my duty to stop the damage.
Because he knew he was going to take it.
Yeah.
And he has foundations.
We're going to go ahead and re-ready up our passing the torch. Just in case.
Maybe he just does not have that block.
Yeah, well, it's like you still don't even need to block it, right? Like you're ostensibly dealing with 2 attacks in hand because he's not touching anything. We know one of them is a Vile Season, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we may just be drawing to see if we can find something to block with or review next turn, or maybe we'll just accidentally find all the orange ones.
There is also just the visceral fear that happens when you see 2 double jabs next to each other.
It's terrifying, and especially when it's just a pile of damage coming at your face because All For One is constantly pumping it up. But like, man, you gotta find if this attack deals damage, which it doesn't look like it's going to based on the way that fourth kind is fishing with his cards. Okay, we got a partial block, so it is going to deal a little bit of damage, and that's actually the best. That is the best way to make somebody happy playing double jet pummels when you take half and then they still get to draw and discard 2. We missed our window, or are we going to do it? No, we missed our window. Oops.
Oh no.
Yeah, so
oof.
Well, it happens.
Well, we probably wanted to play that 0 diff anyway.
Yeah.
We have the momentum. It gives us a re-ready.
It gives us a re-ready, except for how many foundations do we have at Bash?
Too many.
If we're All For One.
How many do we have up?
Yeah.
0.
Yeah. We have 0 foundations up. That's correct.
Well,
if fourth kind found it, and we're confident he has at least 2 attacks. But yeah, we've got 0 foundations up if fourth kind wants us to. So this is going to be hold on for a ride, I guess. Like fourth kind is thinking, but I feel like he's thinking about like how he wants to kill his opponent.
Well, starting off, this seems like a good bet.
Mm-hmm.
And man, you don't even need good checks, but checking a 5, Feels good.
Now, my first question is, are we going to see the once per game here or not? Because we have seen turns where once per game could come down, and we've opted not to use it. Is it time? I think it is time to, if we're winning the game this turn, which we would know probably by now if we're doing that or not. We're probably winning the game this turn, but no, we're going to get. Looks like we're opting to stun one, which is really interesting. Because it doesn't really change anything, right? The requesting still comes down, and we don't have another requesting ready. So you're ready anything, and it gets once per game, and Reciproc Burst is just tagging speed. The thing is, you still get the release. You're getting a chivalrous activation. Like, there's still buttons to press on all for one side of the board. So to not use the once per game here is a really curious move. It is interesting to see that we're, maybe we just wanted the one speed off of it, but like, I mean, yeah, your opponent's 25. It's a lot to sort of chew through. But man, if I can commit my opponent down in one go, I'm doing it. That's me, though. And I can't see his hand, so I don't know. I really don't know if that's the sort of plays he can make right. But if we're still fishing and we're not sure, we'll probably see passing the torch come down, requesting assistance, ready, passing the torch, maybe passing the torch again on the next time. How many foundations do you have ready right now is the question just asked, and that is a question that maybe we should have asked a second ago, but maybe it doesn't matter.
It might come out to be the exact same thing. It didn't hurt anything to stun
Yeah,
one.
I mean, I think I would have maybe used that opportunity to try to bust release and try to see if I could pass A block this turn, but it looks like it's not going to matter, and we have options to EX if we wanted to, so yeah, there's a lot of different things we can do here. Fourth kind has all the options, and all for one kind of like attacking last turn was a really hard choice to have to make. So yeah. And now this is 7, putting our all for one player down to 18. Will we have any more? I don't think we've got any other damage on the table. Really? Could we have responded to give it more damage?
Yeah, we could have.
It looks like we're not. We're choosing not. No, we're rewriting it.
Oh, okay.
We didn't respond for the +1 damage.
Well, like you said, suited up is a new card.
Yeah.
And
nobody does to play that card.
In this giant deck, playing one of, how many times have you been able to practice?
How many games has that actually shown up? I would venture to say 1. Oh man. All right. So we're gonna EX this. Wow, we really need this 7 damage. That's an interesting choice. I feel like there's a lot of different momentum outs in Fourth Kind's deck, but maybe I am just super wrong. Yeah, maybe this is the one. I guess Electric Jolt, if he's got it, you can make it pretty unblockably fast, but this is already pretty unblockably fast. All right, we're at 18, and now we just need an attack and a half, and we're pretty much in there.
Well, the fact that he used the once per game, the fact that he dumped that momentum, it doesn't bode well for all for one.
He is calculating, he is adding. There's no subtracting going on. His opponent's completely committed out. This is just math at this point. Every Universus player's worst enemy.
Yet another vile seizing.
Okay, so this one is interesting because I don't see a way to force it. Like, it's going to get 2 damage, we're going to draw the card, but a 3-speed attack is a 3-speed attack. Did we really get anything else off of this?
Did we get to draw?
We did get to draw, which is good. But, like, it's 7 damage, sure, but if we have any high block, this is the one we're passing. And then we're going to say, hey, Fourth Kind, you got your extra stuff? You got the rest of the damage you need to take me out?
I guess if he has 2 more attacks in hand, he has the foundations to pass them.
Yeah. Okay, and this was a very smooth block there by All for One. We kind of saw that coming because we took the double jab last turn, and it's probably the best block in his deck. And now Fourth Kind is like, all right, do we have it?
We have it.
We got a lot of filter on this one. So even if we don't have it, we get to draw 2 cards if we really need to. This one is going to be like 4. This is just 4 damage. It looks like it's only representing, but he can give it +3 more with Suited Up and Heroic Lineage. If he really wants to. He's opting not to, it looks like. So yeah, I think he might just have it. Or he just didn't draw another attack, but then you played as your 4th card, so he's got it.
Absolutely, yeah. All right, what are we pausing and thinking about?
We're thinking about
Oh, and he still has passing the
Right.
torch if he needed to fish for more attacks and he's
Yeah,
not using it.
yeah, he's got this. He just like he needed all for one to put a card into the card pool.
Oh,
Here it is. So is is this attack like still pretty blockable though?
what's the speed on it?
It's 3.
So it's essentially 4. Wh-
Fourth or all for one is checking his block, making sure he held the right zone and it's the right difficulty. If it's a wealthy aspirations and we check a 5 and fourth kind doesn't have a follow up, he's at 19. And we have enough foundations to give some pretty significant damage. So this actually got interesting, I think. Like, we really wanted to have one more card in the card pool to really make the fourth kind of off plate, or the all for one off plate for his block, but he hasn't picked up his cards yet. And there are plenty of +1 blocks on Chaos. You got your home run Comets, you got your wealthy aspirations, and you know he's gonna play a low. Ooh, that's a
Ooh.
rough one though. We need a 6 off the top. It looks like that's not a 6.
Ah,
Man, that was. He did hit the 5 though. If
He
he had found
did.
the wealthy aspirations, we'd be having a different conversation right now. But that was an excellent game played by both players.
it was.
Really cool. Getting to see a dark horse character come out of nowhere, all for one versus a meta standard, a staple, a character we're definitely going to see up in Kansas City. So we're looking forward to seeing some more games tonight. Thank you guys so much for watching. I think the round just ended, so we may have about another 10 minutes or so before the next one. Hopefully, we're not lying to you again. But this has been great. I'm excited to see what the last round holds.
Absolutely. I hope it's as fun as the last 2.
Yeah. All right, guys. We'll see you here in a little bit. Take care.